dun, 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 dun. Dude, I'm just vibing off of that right now. Just getting hyped off of that.
It's a lot
that
of
intro music.
energy. It's just a lot of energy.
Welcome into the Stacks on Stacks. It's the windup here. And of course, you got Rum Boys Robbie, and I am Derek from the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. We're here to talk to y'all about some stacks and talk to you about the stacks going on stacks, thus the windup and getting y'all ready and going over that midday week hump and into the downward slide into the weekend and some fun. Lots of things going on in the sporting world lately. We've got some fun things going on here over the next week or so. And Robbie, I think we're just spill the beans here. We were about that. We're going to be running a draft contest for everybody out there. And the way that you get in is you submit your picks on the app. So, you know what you need to do. Download the app.
Yes. Prizes, giveaways, you win things.
Exactly.
Yes. Stacks.io.
The first step in being prepared, download the app. You can also find it on Stacks.io and the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. So make sure you're getting it done. Alrighty. So, Robbie, we've got some really fun videos lined up today and a lot of good things. As you know, we're about a week out from the NFL draft. Anybody that, living under a rock, at this point you'd have to be to not be having heard some of the draft conversations. The NBA playoffs have been getting going here. Baseball is is getting geared up, getting through the opening day games there. So it's a lot of fun here. And let's go ahead and we're just going to go ahead and start with the playoffs currently heading through there. And let's just start with with one of the videos from our partners over at Pickup and see what they got to say.
Yo, Stacks community, what's up? It's your boy Darnell from Pickup, and today we got another great question/prop for y'all. And as y'all already know, the NBA playoffs are right around the corner. The question that we got for y'all is this: who y'all got winning the whole thing? Y'all hit that link, make y'all pick, play our props, and let us know who y'all got.
So, of course, my team at home, my Lakers at home, because they sucked. I would like to see the Nuggets win it because I want to see Colorado get buck. I want to see Colorado get ratchet. I'm trying to go to that parade. Love to see the Nuggets win it, but I think that it's the Suns.
I'm going to go with the Grizzlies here. This is a young team, I know, but this team reminds me of last year's Suns team. They have that young star in John Morant.
My pick is the Golden State Warriors to win the NBA championship as long as Steph Curry's healthy.
I think it's going to be the Suns and the Bucks in the finals. It's going to be pretty evenly matched, but I think it might be the Suns' year.
Okay.
Now, obviously, that video was taken before the playoffs truly kicked off there, and I was with you. I was the team I was rooting for and hoping would win the whole darn thing was the Nuggets, but they have not looked great in the last two. Maybe they can shift the narrative here, coming back home to the Mile High City. But I'm not hopeful that my Nuggets are going to make it out of this first round. I really don't. I'm just hoping that they make it into a close game, one of these games here soon.
And what's such a sham is that like those two teams had to face each other in the first round. Mm-hmm. It's something to say, like, as you go through the playoffs, you get a couple of wins underneath your belt, even if it is against like the bottom tier teams. You still have a vote of confidence heading in. It just sucks for Denver that they're not going to be able to get that opportunity because now the Golden State knocks off Denver, they're just about to just pile drive through everyone. The Suns lost last night, and they were the only thing that I lost on an 8-leg parlay. Shots to the homie Justin on his daily locks stack that he does on the app, and that was the only thing that I lost. So, Suns are looking iffy right now, even though it's only through 2 games. So,
all right. Well, on Devin Booker, looks like the reports came back better than initially ruled there, where he's got a mild strain, it looks like, and could be back before the end of the series. But that was some concern early on that he may be gone for the rest of the playoffs. It looks like they may have him back by the end of the series. But even if that is the case, right, like that brings up is Chris Paul, truly cursed when it comes to the playoffs here. There's some of that narrative that always starts kicking up there every time they get into the playoffs here and get injured and some of that
They'll
stuff.
figure it out. They'll figure it out. But Phoenix, you Billy Ray Cyrus me my achy breaky heart.
Exactly. The Warriors, though, I think you're right. Like they do look really tough. Steph is looking good. It's amazing when you can have Steph Curry be your sixth man coming off the bench there, and he's not even necessarily needed in a lot of those deals because of how well the rest of the team is playing there. So
yeah,
yeah,
they're just so well put together, so well coached. The Warriors did everything right. In terms of how to like build a team in the NBA and kind of go from like being like nothing to something. At least there's a team representing Cali, because the other three that are there, just dog shit. So go Warriors.
Exactly. Go Warriors, I guess. All righty.
No, fuck. God.
Although saying that, I can't
know,
say go. I could say go. I can say go Warriors once they get past this round, and I don't have, I no longer have any hope that my Nuggets can pull that out there. But,
It's tough.
I have a hard time saying that when the the Nuggets could still go on a 4-game run right here. Yeah, exactly, and just. Yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on over into some NFL draft talk here, and we're going to be talking some bust.
Draft is right around the corner, and I found this gem this morning. Straight out of the 1998 rookie draft. So my question for you guys is, who is a draft pick that you were for sure on but ended up being a big miss?
We drafted Larry English right after we lost Sean Merriman.
I'll probably go with my worst one here, Justin Hunter out of Tennessee, wide receiver.
Well, I like this guy for two reasons. One, because he was a Badger, and two, because he got drafted to the 49ers. I had really high hopes for Chris Borland.
I'm going to go ahead and say mine because it's on record. Elvin Harmon, I missed on. I definitely missed on. I thought he was going to be baby Julio.
I really thought Cole McDonald was going to do some stuff in the NFL, even though he was not the top quarterback.
Quincy Carter. I knew from the middle of that season, Quincy Carter playing for Georgia, he had the skill set required. I knew the Cowboys were going to take him at 17th overall. They did. He was okay, but never great.
Quincy Carter's a fascinating one because when he got drafted to Dallas, like I was like, yo, like this guy's going to be nice. Like he was like nice for like 7 games. And then it just like really fast. It just fast car, brakes just went out on it and just gone, bro. But yeah, there's I'm shocked that no one brought up like some more recent guys.
Trey Sermon, for instance.
Come on, bro. That's like too early. That's like way too soon. All right, so all right. Oh no. What are your parameters for a draft bust? Like what is a timeline? Like what is a timeline to when you're like, all right, you're a bust.
I mean, usually that comes through about the time to the point where it's first contract. I think that's probably the fair time frame on that one. So I poke a little bit of fun at myself because I was extremely high on Trey Sermon going into last year, and especially for dynasty purposes for fantasy football. And when he got taken by San Francisco, taken in a 3rd round type of deal, you're like, okay, he's got some draft capital. You'll see him. He's got a good team and a good fit for him, and really just never panned out there.
So there's a difference between a NFL draft bust and a fantasy football bust. Like those are different things.
It's also very true,
and often don't parallel. So, like Jeffrey Okudah for Detroit is a bust right now. Like I don't think that Okudah could go to any other team and fit into their system as a corner and flourish. Like I feel like at this point it's like, bro, like we're done. Like practice squad yourself. I'm trying. John Ross was a bust.
Yep.
John Ross bona fide straight up bust. I'm trying to think of some other guys. Jason Campbell was a bust. What's his name? That was the Raiders QB. Fucking Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah, Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah.
Jamarcus Russell to the point where they actually included some of his some of the antics that you saw play out there in the movie Draft Day when they were talking about that quarterback, right? And like for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, the Raiders used to send game film home with Jamarcus Russell, asking him to watch it and be prepared to come through the next day. And they were sending, and this was still back in the day where VHS tapes were a thing. Same thing with the burning DVDs, all of that. Like it wasn't a digital file, is what I'm trying to say. That everybody,
It was
looks
a
for
hard
these days.
copy. Like you had
Exactly.
like open it, put it in a thing, and then watch
and then
it.
hit the play button and then sit there and watch it. Absolutely, right?
The Netflix generation is like, what?
And for those of you that didn't know, Netflix used to come on DVDs so anyway, lots of fun. But anyway, so in the movie Draft Day, right? They've got this thing set up where one of the top prospects, the team sent out the playbook, and in order for them to know what how it actually comes to play is they tape like $100 bill to the last page of the playbook, and then when they ask the guy, hey, what'd you think about the playbook, all of that's how they judge, and they know whether or not the guy actually read through the playbook, is because they typically mentions the money on the back page there at that point. But they sent Jamarcus Russell home with blank copies of film that they wanted him to do. There was nothing on these tapes, but when he showed up the next day, they'd ask him, hey, did you watch the film? Oh, yep, I got it. Let's go. And so just an interesting kind of thing, how some of these real life things that you see happen actually make their way into some sports movies. Absolutely.
Make it in a cinema. Exactly. But no, there's Saquon at this point is a guy that you could probably say is like a bust. Like I would say is a bust is someone that like has very high praise coming out the draft, and then their NFL career just does not pan out. That's what I would say. Like is like a bust. Like an injury. I don't think necessarily maybe plays into it. I think it can to a degree. It can to a degree, and it should to a degree.
Right. I think there's two different things, right? There's bust because of either talent or work ethic, right? Like there's two things that go into that one. There's also another one where, right, like injuries are something that you can't.
Eddie Lacy was a bust.
Yeah, I mean that would be another one of those, right? But so if you get injured and that derails a career, that makes you not live up to some of the potential there, I think that's you get like an asterisk in
slack.
There.
Yeah, you get cut some slack. Yeah.
But if you're a guy that comes in and doesn't necessarily have the work ethic to succeed on on something like that, that's where I think that becomes an issue there.
Yeah.
And so here's a fun question, and maybe something we'll throw on the app here in a little bit in preparation for draft season. What would you say was the worst draft pick ever made by a team in the NFL?
The worst pick ever made by a team in the NFL?
Mm-hmm.
Remember Roberto Aguayo?
Yeah, barely.
The kicker?
Yeah.
Tampa. When Tampa did that shit, that was stupid as fuck. Dumb.
You know what? I can name a Tampa draft pick that was worse than that one for this organization. Oh, I've got you intrigued now. Big name in the NFL too. Huge name in the NFL. Awful draft pick by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bo Jackson. Reason I say that one.
Because they
Bo
traded
Jackson
him,
was
they didn't hold on. Yeah.
No, Bo Jackson was drafted number 1 overall, would not play for Tampa Bay due to some issues that happened with them going through the draft process. Some of that kind of stuff ruined his eligibility at Auburn, and never played for the organization. Went and played baseball instead, and was drafted later on by the Raiders in like the 6th round. So you took him number 1 overall. He never played it down. You weren't even able to trade him away, anything like that. Like that one in my mind is probably one of the worst draft picks ever made in an NFL. And it wasn't like it was one of those that like, oh, he just dipped on you. yeah, at least according to some of the documentaries out there.
You knew ahead of time.
Yeah, at least according to some of the documentaries out there, that he let it be known to Tampa Bay that they could draft him, but he would never play for them, never sign with him, never do anything like that. So,
You're correct. You're correct.
So definitely not, he definitely was not a bust, but that was probably the worst draft pick selection I think ever made in the history of the NFL.
You should put that on the app.
Yeah. I can see it now. Everybody's going to come jumping on that one without necessarily understanding the backstory on that one. So
do it.
Right,
and we're going to air that one for you guys next week.
All right, we'll do it. We'll put that one out there here in just a little bit after the show ends. So even more incentive. We already told you that there's a contest going on that's going to be starting here very soon. And now you get to come and join in on the worst draft pick ever made debate. That's going to be a lot of fun. So absolutely. Let's go ahead and we're going to move on to our next topic here. And we got some of the guys that, obviously Robbie and myself, we make some content out there. We do lots of different things across all different social medias, across different platforms, all of that. And there's a lot of guys like that on this app here as well with the Stacks app. So, Nick posed a very, very good question out there as far as some of the advice given to creators out there, folks maybe looking to start. And so wanted to bring that one up here.
So we got a lot of guys in this app that produce some sort of sports content, whether it's a YouTube channel or, articles and everything in between. But my question to you guys is, what's a piece of advice you can give to people that might just be starting out making sports content?
Be aware of your brand. Be yourself while building your brand.
To find what sets me apart, what makes me different, do something different that no one else is doing.
This is a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Find what works for you personally.
Shoot your shot. Shoot or shoot. Learn every day.
Network. Don't be afraid to collaborate with people.
Is to step out of your comfort zone. Sometimes you'll end up really liking something and it hits. Sometimes you don't and it misses, but it's well worth the try because we've all been there before.
To be loved, you got to be hated.
So lots of really good piece of advice there, I think.
The only thing that I disagree with was the last part. You don't gotta be hated in order to be loved.
And I think he speaks to it longer. There's more of that clip in there as well, and it speaks to a larger point that he was making, that don't necessarily get down on when somebody's, you get some of the trolls, you get some of those guys.
You have to have thick skin.
You.
Yeah, you have to have thick skin, but yeah, you don't have to be hated. I don't want up and coming like conspiracy damn, so I have to make controversial content. Do you boo boo, do you.
Right. And the larger point to that last one there as well was the fact that you got to, if people are going to troll you, they're going to hate on you. You're going to have other people that are just as staunch as supporters on you on the other end. And so, in order to get some of those guys, you're going to attract some of the other ones. And, ultimately don't ride the middle, right? Don't ride the deal that's just, a chalk, you're chalk with everything else going on out there. And you're, pretty middle of the road, right? Like middle of the road does not get you noticed.
Well, one thing that wasn't said on that, feel free to push the envelope.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's
Yeah, feel free to push the envelope. Creativity is not a box. You are not stuck in a box. The second that you feel like you're stuck in a box, that's the second that you just box yourself in.
Right. My favorite deal out there is all the folks that come up, they put 3 or 4 pieces of content and expecting that overnight immediate success out there, right? Like that's where the point that I was making there myself was that it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Everybody out there that you think as an overnight success, what you didn't see was the years of grinding that took to get to a point, to get to that one point, to get that one shot to blow up. It's one of those that, they're an overnight success, sure, in your mind, but you didn't see the years that it took for them to be able to get to the point where they could blow up.
The amount of people that think that Rum Boys is an overnight success. I'm just like, you're funny. You're funny. Like, yeah, bro, it's hilarious. Don't expect overnight success. Work hard, be consistent, grind every day. Not every episode that you do is gonna have like a fucking million, fucking views, bro. Like, it's okay. Like, Do you?
Some of my favorite pieces of content I've ever done have been the things that don't get any traction, and that I think 5 people have ever seen, type of thing, according to some of those analytics out there. But they're some of my personal favorite ones out there, and some of the other ones that I'm like, that really wasn't my best. Like, those are the ones that took off there as well. So it's one of those that, just going back to that point, Matty Daddy said it really well there. Shoot your shot, right? Don't be afraid to pull the trigger and just let it rip and let it go. So, but yeah, this is another one of those just great conversations going on in app all the time that really just kind of sets it apart from not just being about some of the sports topics, some of the sports takes, but also some real world advice in there. And we've got quite a few of those things going on there as well. So lots of fun. But you know what? Let's get back into the sports here as well. And we're going to go with a topic not much talked about here previously on the Windup, and it's some wrestling.
What is the best tag team of all time in professional wrestling? Is it the Road Warriors? Oh, what a rush. Heart Foundation. Is it the New Age Outlaws? Y'all ass better call somebody. Maybe it's some Bushwhackers. Good morning, Luke. Good morning, Butch. I want to hear your opinion on the best tag team in pro wrestling of all time.
How about an honorable mention for Dink and Doink?
The Rock and Sock Connection.
I'm going to go with the Dudley.
My honorable mention goes to the Steiner brothers.
Got to go with the Hardy Boys.
Is Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, the Brainbusters. Give me Edge and Christian.
Hardy Boys, fuck that. Yo, like I started thinking about like a lot of different tags. Hardy Boys, like the flying and the flipping and just the acrobatics, like it was like, yo, we're were these Robin's parents? If you're a nerd, you get that joke,
right? The that's a great one, and that's probably the best. Yeah, that is probably the best all around. My favorite one, though, right? Not necessarily talking about the best, but just my favorite one was the Rock and Sock connection there, right? You had the Mick Foley and the Dwayne Johnson tag team there that just Socko and the Rock. Just because that was those two personalities were always a lot of fun to watch. So
Mankind was that was a different type of personality. You want to talk about people in entertainment history that were just like, when they played a character, were just completely psychopathic. That there was no understanding that, man. Like, you come out with this leather face mask, you have a sock, and you're in like this business suit. Like, you can't even have that character nowadays. Like today's kids would be like, what's going on? They no, yeah. He was a different individual.
Absolutely. Alrighty, and then the last video we're gonna get into a little bit more NFL draft. Here we go.
Who is you guys' favorite wide receiver prospect in this year's NFL draft, and why? More importantly, okay?
Robbie, I got two that I like. One is George Pickens, wide receiver out of Georgia. Fits the archetype that I like, that big body, big frame type of receiver that can be a true X in the NFL.
Traylon Burks from Arkansas.
My favorite wide receiver from a dynamic playmaker standpoint, Jamison Williams.
Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson.
Christian Watson is about to ball out, and y'all know that Coach and Hoove called it.
You got Sky Moore out of Western Michigan. Yeah, they can do a little bit of everything.
I like all of the top 4 guys. I have them all in their own tier.
So some good ones there. I know I am mine, but let's hear yours real quick.
I don't think I'm contractually allowed to say it, actually. like I know, like, I'm being like completely honest. So here's what I can say. Within that contract, to find out my favorite wide receiver, you can check me out on NFL Podcast with Marcus Grant, Michael Florio, and the rest of the gang on April 27th. And yeah, you'll be able to hear it.
All right, I like it. So
I'm sorry.
since Robbie can't give that to you, I'm going to elaborate on those ones there a little bit for me, right? Like, I'm a
I
firm
can talk
believer.
about other ones.
All right, I'm a firm believer that Jameson Williams coming into this draft, short of an ACL in the championship game, was going to be the first receiver off the board, and I think that he is probably one of the best wide receivers in this class. George Pickens, another guy that is been slept on tremendously, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that he got hurt in their spring game. Going into this past year, missed the majority of this last season, showed up here a little bit towards the end of it, but the dude is a 6'3", 200 plus pound wide receiver that is explosive, can high point the ball, like a true X type of receiver. And this is a draft class that everybody is talking, heavily about. All of these guys, the Garrett Wilsons, the Olaves, all of these. Johan Dotson is another one out there as well. Like, they're talking about a lot of these guys that play primarily are going to fit more into a slot type of role, based off of how, the type of routes they run, based off of the body type, that kind of stuff. There are not many true X receivers in this draft class, and George Pickens is one of them. And I think he's going to be ultimately very, very good there. So, this is going to be one of those that it'll all depend on what those physicals kind of come up with, what those medical reports come back as. But that's the guy that I'm probably one of the highest on out here as well.
What I can say, one of the guys I do want to highlight, and I feel like for fantasy football purposes, you guys will be lucky to get this kid. This is not my favorite, but this is one of my favorites. Okay, see what I did there? Loopholes. Sky Moore. Sky Moore at his size kind of almost reminds me of almost like a D-Jax, like, in a way, kind of. But except can he has better geometry with his feet. He's quick. He'll cut. He's great at breaking off corners and creating separation with his breaks. So Sky Moore, that's a dude that if your team needs a guy that can run a lot of digs, hitches, be able to come back to the ball. If you got a quarterback that underthrows, Sky Moore is a guy that I think could greatly benefit your team because he's a catch and just gone.
Right.
So yeah,
I did like both Coach Craig and Hoove talking up the Christian Watson hype and all that. I'm not gonna lie, I heard about Christian Watson and Christian Watson's freshman year from my co-host Alex, who used to cover the Bison professionally there up there at North Dakota State and in Fargo. So it's a guy that I've had on the radar for a while there, and I think that he's another guy that could deliver on some hype. Right, we've seen a lot of guys recently out of the FCS kind of come through and end up balling out here over the last few years.
That kid is amazing. That kid is amazing, and I think he's going to be a Chief.
I don't think he makes it to the Chiefs.
Well, yeah, I mean, because of these late, type of mocks and like stuff like that. I mean, it's moving him up more and more and more. I think that's the best fit.
Yeah, we did our mock last night on our show, and I actually had one of the Chiefs draft picks there. And by the time it got to me, Christian Watson was already off the board, but there was another big body receiver hanging out there for the Chiefs to draft, and George Pickens was that guy. So another guy that would fit extremely well in that type of system. I know a lot of folks are talking about trying to put like a Jahan Dotson, some of these smaller, shifty, speedier type of receivers out there for the Chiefs, but they've already got some of those guys with the McCole Hardman, some of that. Like, put an X out there, and now you can really unlock some of that offense there as well. So I think that could be a good fit there as well. But Robbie, I do believe that that's going to take us down here to the end of it. Any final thoughts out there?
Stacksapp.io, put in your Google search bar, hit that download the app button, hit that open in app button, check us out, make some content with us, get ready for our NFL draft competition. And that will be announced on the Stacks app. And make sure that you also go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. Let's go.
Let's get it. Get it. All righty. So what Robbie just said, make sure that you're hitting that up and doing that. But that's going to do it for us. He's Rum Boys Robbie. I'm Derek from the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. Y'all have a great one and be safe.